When you launch Adobe Premiere Pro, you will be met by a window asking you to select a project or make up a new project. So if you select a new project, you will have another project window that will ask you what kind of format you wish, audio, what kind of capture you're going to be utilizing, to name the project, and your scratch disk as well. Scratch disk, of course, in case you're not familiar with, is to tell it where to save your files. If you're working on a machine with a external drive or portable drive, make certain that where it says browse on the right hand side, you select your drive. So I'm going to name this sample, and I'll select on OK. Once I get that, I get a question for my sequence. So what do you want your sequence to be at? So for example, if I'm bringing in DV and TSC and I'm going to use standard definition or widescreen, that's something I want to utilize. If I'm working on XD-Cam in high definition, then I have two choices. I can work on 1080i for interlace or 1080p for progressive. And of course, you should pay attention to your frame rate as well. Once you make that selection, you select on your item. On the right hand side, it shows you primarily what kind of footage you should be working with when you bring it in and what your project will be. On the bottom, there's also a sequence name request. You can also change the name of your sequence when you're in the program itself. So if you forget to do this, no worries. But ideally, there's something you want to do right here, so that way everything's in order. So I'll go ahead and name this practice sample 1. That will be the name of my sequence, and the sequence settings will be for XD-Cam HD 1080i at 30 or 60i as they say here. I'll select on OK, and now my application will launch. Adobe Premiere Pro has been greatly enhanced. It's absolutely great. They've done a great deal of improvements, and it's very user friendly. On the top, you have your source monitor and then the program monitor on the left of that. In the bottom left hand side, by default, you have your place where you have your bins and your projects, your media browser, you have your effects, and so on and so forth. By default, you have a sequence which is listed on the left hand side. On the very bottom corner or left hand corner, you have the ability to select whether to make this a thumbnail view or list view. You can also increase and decrease the size of your text and your icons. And everything seems to be dynamic in this program. So if I were to select in between windows, you're able to dynamically change the size of many of the windows. Here I'm changing the toolbar. If I select on my audio meters on the right hand side, I can also change that as well. And you can also change your keyboard layout by going to the Premiere Pro window, or I should say menu, and you go to keyboard shortcuts. Here you will see that you can have a keyboard layout preset of Final Cut Pro 7 if you're coming from Final Cut Pro 7. You also have Premiere 6, 5.5, and even Avid Media Composer 5. So if you're an Avid user or a Final Cut Pro user and coming into Premiere Pro, you can certainly keep most of your keyboard shortcuts with you and bring them into the program. That is something that is far better, in my opinion, option than say Final Cut 10, where you're not able to have the Final Cut 7 keyboard shortcuts as you do here. Go figure. I'll keep this at Final Cut 7. I'll press OK. And here I'm going to bring in a clip so I can show you some of the different options that you have. If you go to the file menu and you go to import, you can select on there, and then you'll have a window where you can select to bring in different items. So you have different abilities to bring in clips. You can select the command key and the letter I as well. And once you have a clip, you simply double click on it and you will see it in the source monitor. If you select on the bottom of the source monitor, there's a playhead and you're able to scrub dynamically there. You can also right click anywhere inside on most of the windows and you'll have menus come up. And you'll have the ability to send things to Encore, Flash Queue, and many other things that you're able to bring up when you right click on most things in this program. Again, very user friendly. If there's something you don't understand, simply scroll over it or put your cursor over it and a window comes up or a word comes up telling you what that may be. Here it says settings, for example, on the bottom right hand side of my source monitor. There's a wrench icon, select on that, and then here you will see once again many different items available to you, so you can make your options there. In order to bring something into your timeline, you can either take a clip and drag it into your program monitor, or you can bring it directly into the timeline by dragging it there, or you can also select a keyboard shortcut, such as, well, I have my settings here, Final Cut Pro 7, so in my case I can press F10 or F9 and you will see that your shot comes in. So again, different ways of bringing in your video. Again, dynamic windows that allow you to move everything around and just click anywhere and move the length or size of them. So if I go between these tracks, I can dynamically shorten them or lengthen them. So I can increase the height of something or decrease the height of something. This would be great if I want to do keyframing. For example, here, this video may have audio. So if I were to open up the audio track, you will see very small waveforms as well as a line to manipulate my audio. But I don't see much of the waveform because it's very small. Again, because it's very dynamic, I can select in between two tracks and increase that track very, very large and zoom into that, and then able to do keyframing if I wish to do, and watch my monitors as well. And I'm speaking about the audio monitors on my right hand side. Another great thing about Premiere Pro is that you're able to do things pretty quickly when it comes to doing keyframing and getting your controls. So all I simply have to do is double click on a clip. It opens up in the source monitor, and if you go to the effects tab, there you will see your options. You'll have arrows on the left hand side of each parameter. Select on the parameter, and then you have additional items appear. If you want to see a frame around your item so you can manipulate it, you'll select on what, for example, here where it says motion on the left hand side of my source window here where it says effect controls, control tab, there you go. And now I can go ahead and simply select in my source program monitor and increase or decrease the size of my video. Also, I can change the resolution of my video by simply selecting here on the right hand side of my program monitor. Right now it's at half resolution. I can put it to full resolution if I want to increase the resolution of this, or quarter resolution if I want to decrease the resolution. That's in the event that I don't have enough memory, or I don't have a machine with a fast enough processor, whatever the case may be. So that's something you may want to keep in mind when you're working with Premiere Pro. So that's a good overall view of this program. Again, it's very user-friendly. I think they've done wonderful work with it. It's definitely top of the line. You may want to get a download for 30 days and take a look at it. There are many tutorials out there besides the ones on this website or web page, and Adobe offers many free tutorials as well. So something you may want to seriously take a look at, especially if you're coming from Final Cut 7 and you're finally moving up to a 64-bit program, which if you want to get away from rendering, that's something you may want to explore. Thanks for visiting Making the Reel.